She walked into the luxury hotel lobby like she owned the world. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, her diamonds glittered under the golden lights, and her sharp voice echoed through the air. "Move out of my way. Do you even know who I am?" she snapped at a man in a worn-out uniform, holding a mop in his hands. The cleaner, tall, dark-skinned, his back slightly bent with years of hard work, bowed his head quietly. But his eyes, deep and calm, carried a strength she didn't recognize. To everyone else, he was invisible. Just another worker cleaning up after the rich. But what this arrogant woman didn't know was that this ordinary cleaner was not who he seemed. And the lesson he was about to teach her would leave her trembling. The woman's voice rang across the lobby like a whip. "Do you even know how to polish this floor? Look at those stains. My shoes are worth more than your entire salary, and you dare let me walk on dirt?" Her words sliced through the air, drawing the attention of guests and staff alike. Some turned their faces away, uncomfortable. Others stared in silence, afraid to speak. No one dared to defend the cleaner, because in that hotel, money spoke louder than justice. The cleaner bent down, his old hands pressing the mop across the marble. He did not answer, not even once. His silence only fueled her arrogance. She smirked, towering over him. "Pathetic," she sneered, deliberately knocking over her coffee cup. The dark liquid spilled across the shining tiles, spreading like an ugly wound. "Clean this up. Quickly. That's what you're paid for, isn't it?" He looked at the mess for a brief moment, then quietly began to wipe it away. His motions were steady, patient, almost graceful, like a man who had long learned the art of swallowing his pride. But behind those calm eyes, there was something else. A storm waiting to break. He had been insulted before. He had been underestimated before. But this woman, her cruelty reminded him of every injustice he had endured in his journey. The lobby grew tense. The woman laughed loudly, enjoying her power, while the cleaner continued his work with quiet dignity. And yet, those watching began to notice something strange. The way he moved, the steadiness of his posture, the quiet authority in his silence, it was not weakness. It was strength. A strength far greater than the arrogance of a wealthy woman blinded by pride. What she didn't know was that every word, every insult, was only leading her closer to the moment that would shatter her world. The woman's laughter echoed across the grand hotel lobby, but suddenly, it stopped. Because the cleaner finally straightened his back. For the first time, he looked her directly in the eyes. His face was calm, but his gaze was piercing, sharp enough to silence even the noisiest crowd. The entire room seemed to pause, as though time itself was waiting for his next move. "Madam," he said softly, his voice steady, deep, and commanding. "Do you think your money gives you the right to humiliate others? Do you think respect is bought with designer shoes and golden jewelry?" The woman blinked, stunned that the man she had mocked dared to speak back. How dare you," she hissed, her voice trembling more with shock than anger. But the cleaner did not flinch. He slowly removed his worn-out cap, revealing a face lined with wisdom, scars of struggle, and dignity unshaken by years of hardship. "You see me as just a cleaner," he continued, his tone growing stronger with each word, "but once, I owned more than you could ever imagine. I built businesses. I trained men who now sit in offices higher than this hotel. Life humbled me, stripped me of riches, but not of honor." The crowd gasped. Whispers rippled through the lobby, could it be true? The cleaner stepped forward, closing the space between them. His eyes never wavered. "I clean floors, yes. But I do not clean away my dignity for anyone. And today, you have shown everyone here what true poverty looks like, not poverty of money, but poverty of heart." The woman's face flushed crimson. She opened her mouth to lash back, but no words came. For the first time, her confidence crumbled. Those around her, once silent out of fear, now stared at her with disgust, not the cleaner. The roles had reversed. The mighty had been humbled. And in that moment, it was clear, she had picked the wrong man to humiliate. The lobby had fallen into an eerie silence. Every pair of eyes was fixed on the scene unfolding, a wealthy woman trembling in shock, and a simple cleaner standing tall with dignity that outshone her gold. The woman's painted smile faded into something brittle. Her voice cracked as she tried to regain her authority. Do you know who I am?" she stammered, her tone stripped of its former arrogance. "I am respected, feared, I can have you fired in an instant." But her threat sounded empty now, like broken glass scattered on the marble floor. The cleaner tilted his head, his voice calm yet heavy with unshakable power. "You may fire me, madam. You may strip me of this uniform. But understand this, clothes, jobs, money, they come and go. What remains is character. And today, the only person who has lost anything in this room is you." A murmur spread among the guests. People nodded quietly, some even stepped forward, emboldened by the truth in his words. The staff, who had always worked in fear of wealthy customers, stood a little straighter, hope flickering in their tired eyes. The woman's chest tightened. For the first time, she felt exposed, not because of poverty, but because the mirror of truth had been held up before her. The cleaner's words pierced deeper than any insult she had hurled. And then, something unexpected happened. A young child, no older than 8, tugged at the cleaner's sleeve. It was the woman's own daughter. She had been standing nearby, watching the storm unfold with innocent eyes. "Sir," the girl whispered softly, "my mother was wrong. I'm sorry she spoke to you like that." The cleaner knelt down, his stern face softening instantly. He placed a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. "Little one, you are not to blame for the pride of others. What matters is that you see the truth, even when your elders do not." The child nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. And in that moment, the woman felt something she had not felt in years, shame, deep and cutting. Her daughter had recognized dignity where she herself had only seen dirt. The crowd began to whisper louder, some shaking their heads at the woman, others clapping softly for the cleaner. The weight of humiliation pressed on her like an anchor, crushing the false crown of pride she had worn for so long. Her empire of arrogance was collapsing, brick by brick, before her very eyes. She lowered her gaze, unable to look at the cleaner, unable to look at her daughter. For the first time, the woman who had mocked others felt smaller than anyone else in the room. And the cleaner? He did not smile in victory. He did not boast. He simply returned to his mop, resuming his work with the same quiet dignity as before, as though he had already moved on, leaving her to wrestle with the storm he had unleashed within her soul. The grand hotel lobby, once filled with laughter and arrogance, now stood wrapped in silence. The cleaner, with his mop in hand, had already returned to his corner. He did not care for applause, nor for victory. His strength had never been in riches or in recognition, it had always been in his quiet dignity. But the echoes of his words lingered like thunder in the hearts of everyone present. The wealthy woman, still shaken, slowly sat down, her hands trembling. The reflection of her life, her arrogance, her pride, her cruelty, flashed before her eyes. For years, she had believed that money made her untouchable. But here, in front of strangers, she had been stripped bare, not by another millionaire, but by the very man she had tried to belittle. And it wasn't anger or revenge that broke her, it was truth. Her daughter's innocent eyes watched her closely, filled with disappointment. That gaze cut deeper than the cleaner's words. She realized that if she continued down this path, her child would grow up not admiring her, but fearing her. And what good was all the money in the world if even her own daughter couldn't respect her? Tears welled up in the woman's eyes, tears she hadn't shed in years. She stood, her voice trembling. "Sir. I am sorry." The crowd gasped. No one had ever seen her apologize before. The cleaner looked up, his eyes soft but unwavering. He gave a small nod. An apology means nothing if it is only words. Respect is shown in action, not in speeches. The woman swallowed hard. She knew he was right. For once, her wealth could not buy her redemption. She would have to earn it. And from that day forward, something began to change. She became gentler with those around her. She began to greet the hotel staff with kindness. She even donated generously, not for praise, but to truly uplift those who had been invisible to her for so long. But the one who changed her most wasn't her wealth or her shame, it was the image of a humble cleaner, standing tall, teaching her that respect is not tied to money, but to humanity. As for the cleaner, he went on with his life, never seeking the spotlight, but forever remembered by those who had witnessed that day. His lesson was simple, yet unforgettable. Backhand index pointing right, you can lose your money, your job, even your status. But never lose your dignity. Because true wealth is not in your pockets, it is in your heart. The camera slowly fades out on the cleaner's figure, quietly working, while the echoes of his words linger in the hearts of viewers.